Have friends or family coming to Bethany? Give them a home away from home at Hidden Acres Cabin Rentals. In the rolling hills of Bethany, our cozy cabins start at $140 a night and include everything guests need to relax: private space, modern amenities, and a peaceful country setting. Book a cabin today at hiddenacrescabinrentals.com or call 660-373-9927. Hidden Acres Cabins. Comfort for your guests, just minutes from you.
Show your school spirit with a BTC Bank Mascot Debit Card. For each swipe of your Mascot Debit Card, BTC Bank donates 7.5 cents to the school represented on your card. It's a simple step you can take to have a big impact on your community at no cost to you. Stop by a branch today to get your Mascot Debit Card and start making a difference immediately. Visit btcbank.bank to learn more. Member FDIC.
All right, welcome again into one of our Sports Central interviews, sponsored by Harrison County Community Hospital, joined again by South Harrison Lady Bulldogs softball coach Aaron Fitzpatrick. And Coach, myself, a lot of fans made the long trip over to Highland for that quarterfinal game, and boy, we were in for a good one that day, and excited to be able to be a part of it and be on the call there on Mission TV. And so let's just start looking at that game. Number one, it was a team. There's some familiarity. They're returning state champions. You met them last year in the quarterfinal. They came over to Bethany and won that one 9-0. And so not that it's a revenge game, but knowing, hey, this is a good team. This is a team that has a lot of players come back from a state championship. What was kind of the mindset going in? You go over a day early just to kind of cut down some of that travel lag going into that game. So maybe just yours and the team's mindset going into that quarterfinal game against a team that had beat you before, returning state champions.
Yeah, it's a answer that starts back, last October. We talked about it after the game, after they beat us. Like, I wanted them to remember how that felt, because I had a feeling it was probably going to come down to us and them again. So when we started hitting, in February or whenever it was, the 7-week window we have to hit in the late winter and the early spring, it was all trying to get ready for Abilene, because we figured we would probably be facing her again. We worked on a lot of rise ball stuff. We worked on hitting pitches high in the zone, trying to hit a little quicker velocity than maybe we were typically used to. So it started then all summer long. It was like, hey, we're going to try to set our machines up a little, just a tick higher, a tick faster, and just try to prepare for that. So, our mindset going in was like, we're going to have to play well, because they're a really, really good team offensively. They were extremely dangerous. So we were trying to, prepare for Kira Rothweiler at the top of the lineup. She's obviously a really dangerous hitter, and try to prepare for what we're going to see with Abilene. Obviously, she battled some offseason injuries, and we knew she probably wasn't as sharp as she was the previous year. So just trying to prep our hitters for what they were going to face, and prep our fielders for them getting the ball in play, getting it hard, and them being aggressive on the base. They're extremely aggressive base running team. So just trying to prepare the best we can. Our mindset was just go in there and compete at a high level, and let the chips fall where they may.
And so you come in, you've got a team. You return everyone from that quarterfinal team a year ago. You get there. You win the coin flip. I've watched you win a number of coin flips over the years, coaching some of the younger girls. You win the coin flip, which is huge, because you get to be the home team. Even though we're on the road, they're hosting. We're the home team, so we know, hey, the Bulldogs are going to get the last shot at it, no matter where this game is, where the score is. And then they come out right away. Their leadoff hitter, their top two hitters, smack singles through. They're moving around the bases and get a couple early. And you've talked about it throughout the year when we've sat down and had these conversations. There was no panic in your team down 2-0 and ended up being down 3-0 going into the bottom of the third there. No panic in you or the girls.
Yeah, the first thing I said whenever they came off the field after the top of the first was we've been here before. We've had to come from behind. We've been in deficits, and we've been in deficits a lot later than games than the first inning. So, it was a situation we had been in. We had put ourselves in. We had tried to put ourselves in situations where nothing was really foreign to us, and they didn't panic. I'll give credit to Bailey Barnett. Every single inning, she would say, "There's a lot of game left. There's a lot of game left. There's a lot of game left." So it was like we had been there before. To get out of that first inning, they loaded the bases with no outs, if I remember correctly. Then Rory struck out their cleanup hitter. Maybe then they got a couple runs after that. But yeah, to get out of that inning when it started with bases loaded, no outs, to get out of that inning and just give up 2. I told Chelsea that was kind of a victory in itself because that could have been a 4 or 5 run inning. So to minimize the damage there, and we did that throughout the game. Would they get runners in scoring position, we'd get out of a jam with a defensive play or and then we had a couple things not go our way early in the game, and I thought our girls stayed mentally tough and just battled through that early part.
Yeah, and so you get to that point, and there were some hard hit balls. I know Ambry Hunter had a couple of those, and I talked to her after the game, but she was able to keep them on the infield, keep the runners from advancing and doing those things. So you get to the bottom of the third, it's 3-1, so they grabbed another one there as in the top 3 innings. Lexi Hunter gets on, she singles with 1 out, and then Tania Dahl comes up. There's 2 outs at this point, and she slaps the double through, gets your first run on the board, and you've got the seniors, you've got those girls, the juniors, but you also have some freshmen and sophomore, and Tania Dahl came up in a big spot there to scratch that first run across for you.
Yeah, that was huge. The longer we went in that game, the more I liked our at bats. I thought Lexi had some really good at bats, hitting the ball the opposite way and battling off some tough pitches. And she got on base. And then Tania came up huge. She probably couldn't have walked out there and placed that ball in a more perfect position to score that run. It was right down the left field line, right on the line. 10 feet in the outfield, right in front of the left field, or right behind the shortstop and third. So it was kind of out there in the little Bermuda Triangle that she tries to get to so frequently. But it was just a perfectly well-timed hit. That's something that she's been working on, getting the ball to go down that line in that spot. And she's just a pretty dangerous multi-tool type of versatile player that came up really big. And for a freshman playing in a quarterfinal game against the defending state champs to get our first run, knock it in, and that was really huge. And it was big for momentum to get it in our favor.
Okay, so now it's 3-1. They come right back. Highland answers. They get 2 more there in the top of the 4th, so it's 5-1. So now you're down 4. You're in the latter half of the game, and you guys did I was able to stream every single home game you guys had, and you did this a number of times throughout the year. 2 outs, right? You're down to the final out in an inning, and you guys just start producing runs, right? Lexi Hunter gets a single, steals a base. Tania reaches and moved Lexi over to third with a little slap. Lexi scores on a wild pitch, and then you just start to be able to get things moving, get runners on, and then Rory Fitzgerald comes up with a big hit, a line drive to center field where the center fielder couldn't get it, to give you guys some more momentum there in that 4th inning.
Yeah, they just a big thing that we game planned for was like just battling through at bats, because we knew Abby Lay was probably going to go deep into counts just because she was a little bit wild at times. So it was like, hey, know what you're looking for when you get up there. Like don't chase pitches in the dirt. Don't chase something out of the zone. I thought our hitters did a really good job being disciplined and not helping her out in those situations. So it was just like, hey, let's go up there and be scrappy, like be a tough out. And then if she makes a mistake and throws one across the middle, then let's make her pay for it. And I thought we did a really good job, but just like as the game went on, we just got better and better at bats. I thought, where we weren't swinging at bad pitches. We were making her get into counts where she was having to throw our pitches. Or the pitches we were looking for. So yeah, our bats, and then we got a couple runners thrown out early just on bad reads and bad breaks. But our base running I thought was sharp as that game went on, and we were able to steal a couple bases, get a wild pitch. And I thought we just did a good job offensively, just like staying in that game and just kind of chipping away and doing damage and taking shots whenever we had them.
Well, and it becomes one of those. Now all of a sudden you hold them scoreless in the top of the 6th. You get to the bottom of the 6th, and another one of your freshmen, Maddie Meadows, singles to get on. Then Tania comes up and has, with 2 outs, right, a hit back to the pitcher, back to Abby Lay. And it's interesting with that hit because it wasn't – I've watched it a few times on video. It wasn't necessarily a really hard hit ball, but the speed of Tania Dahl, I think, sped up the offense a little. They make an errant throw, she reaches, and now all of a sudden you could see it. And I'm putting a highlight video together that I'm going to get out on social media this week with my call and everything. But you could feel the team and the crowd when she reached with two outs. Something just started to rumble in that South Harrison dugout.
Yeah, for sure. That was the top of the sixth. Rewind a little bit to the top of the sixth. That was a huge part of the game because we had Kira Rothweiler was coming up. I think they were at the top of their lineup at the top of the sixth. And I was looking ahead a little bit, and I told Chelsea, like, if we can get Rothweiler out and keep her off the bases, there's going to be a good chance we're going to get out of this inning unscathed, and it's going to be 5-4. And then we were at the bottom of our lineup, 9-1-2-3 was coming up. So I was like, if we can get out of this inning without giving up a run, keep it at 1 run, we have a really good shot, to get a run or two across, especially with the top half of our lineup coming up. And then we were going to have to face the bottom of the half and the bottom of the seventh. Or the top of the seventh, excuse me. I thought at that point, I really liked our chances once we got Rothweiler out on a little rollover ground ball back to Rory. And then Maddie coming up, another freshman in a huge spot late in that game, just to come up and get a base hit in that spot and just like give the top of our lineup a chance with base runners on. That was huge. Like Maddie had a great at bat, and then Tania just being so fast, that's what speed does. It allows you to pressure teams and then make some uncharacteristic errors. And luckily, Abilene threw a ball in the dirt and we were able to tie it up. And the momentum, yeah, you were right. You could tell the momentum shifted, and it was like the whole game we were like kind of scratching and clawing back. But then Highland always had the answer for it. And whenever we tied that game up, you could feel the momentum shift definitely into our favor.
Yeah, and so then she ends up they walk Bailey Barnett, which they really pitched around her most of the day. Highland did. Then Ambry Hunter comes up, and she works. And you mentioned she works a great at bat. I was watching that again yesterday. Not just taking the balls right, not swinging at bad pitches, but she fouls off some pitches in there, and then she walks. And now you got bases loaded. Rory Fitzgerald coming up to bat, 2 outs. So. Right, again, the pressure's on Highland, and your sophomore pitcher comes up to bat and just has a great at bat. Maybe just take the fans through what you were thinking and what you were seeing when Rory comes up to bat.
Yeah, it was Ambry had such a good at bat. Like, I think she fouled off 2 pitches in a full count with 2 outs, and then gets walked. That was such a huge shift in the game because Rory. Highland's coach was there scouting in the championship game, and he had obviously been following us. He knew how hot Rory was, how hot her bat had been. So that was a huge point in the game because then you have no room for her. When the bases are loaded, there's no room to walk her, to put her on. So that was huge. And I could, the dugout and the third base coach's box, Highland's dugout and the third base coach's box was really close. So I could hear them the couple innings previous debating on how long they were going to let Abilene go, what they were going to do with Bailey when she comes back up. They were planning this in advance. And there was a little bit of debating going on in the dugout. And I knew whenever she walked Ambry to load the bases, I knew there was a chance that they were going to go to their number 2. And they end up going to the number 2. They pulled Lay and they put Brinkley in. And, doing a little bit of scouting, I knew that, man, that's a good speed for Rory to hit. Like she usually crushes that speed. And then I think she got down 2-0, the pitcher got down 2-0 in Rory's favor. And I thought, man, she's probably going to throw a really good pitch here and Rory might make her pay for it. And, Rory sent a rocket out to right center field and totally broke that game open. And the crowd was awesome the whole game. Our dugout erupted. It was just a huge moment. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Being there was so great because you see the girls run out, and it's funny. I was substituting yesterday, and Rory and a couple girls were in class with me during Bulldog time, and they'd finished their work, so we were watching my video, and to see your girls out there, they're like, oh, look at Kirkley there in the back, just jumping like a little frog out there. And they're like, hey, look at Coach Fitz down there pumping his arm. And they were counting how many times you were pumping your arm because that broke it wide open. I mean, it was right there. They had the lead. It looked like if you weren't positive, you're looking like, okay, this is maybe going to be a repeat of last year. They're up 3-0, and what's this South Harrison team going to do? You just kept scratching, you just kept digging, and when you had the opportunity late, 2 walks, all of a sudden Roy comes up with the big hit with 2 outs. Again, right? You were down. You mentioned with Ambry down to the last strike, full count, fouls off 2, back into the backstop, and then takes that pitch low to get on base, and that was just, not only did it break it open, but I think a backbreaker, and then you guys come out in the top of the 7th, and you could tell the energy in your team. And I don't know what you said, maybe trying to calm them down a little bit coming in there the top of the 7th.
Yeah, normally in that situation, I would calm them down. But at that moment, I just felt like, hey, we have all the momentum. Like, let's go out and just be ready to finish it. Like, one of our things is that we do whenever we have a lead going in the bottom of the 7th, at home or wherever. Whenever we break huddle, we always say 1, 2, 3, finish it. Just with a mindset, we're going out to finish it. We're not going to make it. We haven't always done this, but we're not going to make it dramatic. Just go out there and make it a clean inning. And I sat down my bucket after we broke huddle, and I told Chelsea, I said, gosh, I hope these girls don't make it any more dramatic than it needs to be. And then we got, I think, a couple strikeouts and a ground out. So, but yeah, it was awesome. I thought that the girls, like, we spent all week talking about the wildness or the inconsistency of Abby Lay, and just how we thought we could take advantage of maybe that in the form of walks, and maybe taking advantage of some of her mistakes. And they just executed the game plan extremely well as the game went on. We thought that she'd probably get a little bit fatigued and probably get a little more wild. And they executed extremely well. So credit to the players just for executing that and knowing what they were doing when they got to the plate.
Okay, so you get the win, and celebration ensues. Everyone's out there. On the flip side, I was talking to some folks from Highland after the game. I remember, I'm old enough to remember, there used to be a show on ABC, The Wide World of Sports, on Saturdays, and they had this film, right, talks about the thrill of victory, then the agony of defeat. You guys had that agony of defeat last year. You return everyone, and this year you get the thrill of victory, and Highland stays home. So now you're on to Springfield, and now it's in front of you, right? 2 games is there for a state championship, and you're going to meet up with Montgomery County. Holden and Mid-Buchanan are the other semifinal games. Obviously, Mid-Buchanan team we're familiar with, the KCI. We've played them in the regular season. And so heading to Springfield, I'm sure you've scouted, looked at Montgomery County, and thought about that next step as well, just because it's a short turnaround. You win the game, you're there the next day. So maybe just talk to the fans about the outlook going into the weekend down in Springfield.
Yeah, we're excited for it. We're excited for the matchup. Montgomery County, just a little bit about them. They've won a couple close games throughout the district, throughout their postseason. They're a good team. They got a good pitcher who throws a pretty good rise ball, and their lineup's pretty good. They're not as quick on the bases as Highland was, but Highland's one of the fastest teams in the state. So it'll be a little bit different type of game. It's going to be all about try to keeping them off the bases, not so much being such a threat if they get on the bases, like Highland was. But I think that I like our chances, especially the way we've been playing. Like, I think Rory's thrown some really good games. Our bats have been pretty hot throughout the lineup. So hopefully we can keep it going. And we're excited for the matchup. The weather as of right now, knock on wood, looks good. And I think a thing that is really important for us is it's a different intensity down there. Everybody's probably a little bit uncomfortable because they're all big games and you're playing good teams. And that experience of us going a couple years ago, and some of these girls being on that team and being on those fields is going to be huge for us. So that experience 2 years ago is definitely, we've talked about it. We've talked about some of the things that maybe we can do better this time around, just like being prepared as far as like warm-ups, and because it's a little more hectic and just some different things that you don't normally do. So, hopefully that experience will help us, be more prepared this time.
All right. So, Coach, we appreciate your time. Excited to see what happens Friday and then Saturday. First time I won't be able to call the game. Misha takes over once we get to the semifinals and finals. And so if you're watching this, make sure to go to Misha TV just like you did the last couple of games. They will have someone on the call, but we're excited to watch. If you're not able to go there, you can still watch it. And I know you're going to have a big group of fans. I'm sure. I know last time you guys were there a couple years ago, a big group of fans. So excited for the weekend. Good luck, and look forward to talking to you next week. And believe you're going to be holding a championship plaque or trophy, whatever they give you, when we interview you next week here at the end of the season.
The last two you said that during the district tournament and during the quarterfinal. I like your mindset again, CF. I like that mindset, man. I want to shout out to the South Harrison fans. We pulled in to Highland and there was already fans there whenever we got to the game. And South Harrison fans travel extremely well. Like, I know I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. It doesn't matter where you're at. They travel extremely well. And we love seeing purple and white in the stands. We love seeing our fans. So hopefully every time we take the field, we make you guys proud. And, they travel well. So we really appreciate that.
All right. Good luck, Coach. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, CF. Sounds good, man.